From our studio on 24 Reed Avenue, this is John Higgins Live here on CHCO-TV. I'm John Higgins, and I want to tell you it is so good to be here. Now, tonight I have two very, very interesting guests. I have with me, to my immediate left, is Dr. Terry Chopin.
Good evening.
Good evening. How are you, Terry?
Pretty good.
Good. Also, another special guest over in the kitchen, because we are going to be doing a lot of cooking here tonight. Over in the kitchen is Dr. Steve Backman, who everybody knows. Good evening, Steve.
Good evening, John. I'm so happy to be here with you tonight.
It's so good to have you here. Okay, what I just wanted to say that, just to explain a little something. Now, everybody, we've all been home baking bread for months, right? Talk about a change. Get your recipe books out, because these gentlemen, these doctors, are going to be preparing a meal like nothing that you've ever had before. Am I right, doctor?
Pretty right, yes.
Now, I didn't know whether to call Dr. Chopin Terry and Dr. Steve, but they instructed me and said yes. Okay.
Yes.
So, Terry,
Yeah.
you're a professor,
I'm a professor at the...
you're a doctor,
Yes.
you're a world traveler,
Exactly, but not now, not at the present time.
and you have a bit of a French accent.
I have a little bit, you are nice. I have a French accent. I am originally from France. Yes.
You're originally from France.
Yeah.
Good heavens. So, number one, how did this happen? How did you get here?
You want the long version or the short version?
Well, I don't know. We're cooking over here. Remember now.
Yeah.
Steve, is everything under control over there?
It's under control in the kitchen.
Okay.
No, the way I work in France, I did my PhD on Irish moss, which is also
Irish
seaweed
moss.
that we have in Prince Edward Island, in New Brunswick. And I was working on the impact of nutrients on the production of this sugar that are used. We will do a recipe tonight with what is called the Acadian blancmange, which is a gel.
Yeah.
So I was doing that, the nutrition of the seaweed on the gel strength. And then I moved to Canada almost 31 years ago. And as a matter of fact, it was at that time the aquaculture industry in
Right.
'89 was just booming. So as a matter of fact, I said, hey, I work with nutrient on seaweeds, but as a matter of fact, aquaculture is a source of nutrient. And instead of calling them waste, why not we take advantage of these nutrients and use them, because the fish release nutrients, but the seaweeds take up these nutrients, and also the scallops of Steve are taking up the organic particles. So all that is this idea of integrated multi-trophic aquaculture. That's when we mix fish, seaweeds, and invertebrates all together to equilibrate the system.
Okay. That's neat.
Yeah. So that's how I came to here. But you talk about bread. Everybody, yes, during COVID-19 has been cooking bread.
Right.
But as a matter of fact, there is a technique to keep your bread a little more moist for 2-3 more days. Put seaweed in it. And your bread will stay moist, because seaweed attracts the water.
Now, Terry, you mean like walking down to the beach and picking up a bunch of seaweed?
Some.
Some.
Yeah. The kelps, for example. Yeah.
The kelp. I have to ask you that. Kelp, we hear all about. It's copper color and slimy. What is kelp? What is it?
Kelp.
Is it alive?
Kelp is alive. Kelp is a brown seaweed. So basically in seaweed we distinguish the brown, the red, and the green. So kelp is a type of large brown seaweeds that we find at low tide. And as a matter of fact, you find them naturally at low tide, but what we do with Steve is we cultivate them at an aquaculture site in the Bay of Fundy.
So he's growing them?
Yes, yeah. On ropes, so we are
Okay.
getting the kelp.
Okay, so they grow on ropes?
Yeah, we seed them at the University of New Brunswick in St. John.
Okay.
I seed twines.
Yeah.
Then at the site of Steve,
Yeah.
we put the twines around ropes. We put them at sea. And in November, they are tiny, tiny little things, less than 1 millimeter. And then now at the present time they are 1.5 meters, 2 meters, so 6 feet. As a matter of fact, for distanciation, put a kelp between the two of us and that will be good.
Okay. So, okay. So you're growing this kelp
Yes.
and then you harvest it.
Yeah, we harvest it. That's the season at the present time where we start harvesting. So we have 2 species of kelp, and we harvest them, we dry them, and we process them on different applications. And tonight what we will see, as a matter of fact, is application in food. But there are many other applications.
Oh, okay. Okay. So food isn't the only.
No, yeah, we have at the present time also, we have one of the 2 kelps that we are developing a product that seems to have interesting properties for Parkinson's disease.
Where are you developing this? Where would it?
Here, so the site of Steve is near Bocabec, so it's right here on the University of New Brunswick in St. John's, so it's just an hour from here, an hour, 15 minutes from here.
So the whole purpose of this is to start a new food idea?
The whole purpose, there's several purposes. One of the things is these nutrients that are in the bay, some of them provided by the salmon aquaculture. So there is an aspect that is absorbing these nutrients, so biomitigation, is we mitigate the nutrient by absorbing them in the seaweeds.
Mm-hmm.
And then these seaweeds, as a matter of fact, this morning, if you had orange juice, what kept the pulp in suspension, so it doesn't fall at the bottom, that was a seaweed extract that was keeping your pulp in suspension. And tonight, if you brush your teeth, if there was no kelp extract in the toothpaste,
There is?
it will be just a liquid coming
So
out.
there is kelp
Yes,
extract?
that's what
in-
makes the paste, toothpaste.
So-
But the paste is due to seaweed.
And that's been going on for ever since it was toothpaste.
Yes. But nobody, that's the thing, is in the Western world, nobody knows exactly the applications. Compared to Asia, I mean, the Chinese, the Koreans, the Japanese know what to do with seaweeds for
Exactly.
centuries. But here we are just starting to understand.
I just want to remind everybody that's watching, if you want to call, for heaven's sakes, call. The number is 529-8836, and if it's out of the local area, 506-8826, 529-8826. Give us a call if you have any questions. Anywhere through the show, if you have questions, when we start cooking, if you want to know and you know how they're doing this or whatever, just give us a call, because we'd love to talk to you. Love to talk to you. So you formed your own company.
Yeah, so I am a professor at UNB, but a few years ago I created a company called Chopin Coastal Health Solutions. And then at the same time I work with Steve Backman, who has a company called Magellan.
I want to talk to Steve
Yes,
about
yeah,
that. I
yeah,
want
yeah.
to talk to Steve about his company. That
On the 2 companies we are working together.
So have you combined the 2 companies?
No,
then?
we are still independent, but we have a common website.
Okay.
And we call that the turquoise revolution. Why turquoise? The turquoise, the blue-green color,
Right on.
is
Yeah.
because a lot of people talk about the blue revolution, the blue economy, the new economy of the sea, the blue economy. But if you look, the seawater is rarely blue, except if you are in the tropics. But in the Bay of Fundy, the water is not blue.
No, it sure
So
isn't,
as a
no.
matter of fact, what we say is the blue economy need to be greener. The whole aspect of biomitigation, absorbing the nutrients from the fish and all these things. So we are talking about a greener blue economy. So when you mix green and blue, you get the turquoise or turquoise color. So that's why we call it turquoise
Okay.
revolution.
Very good. I love it.
I am French, so we like revolutions.
Perfect. Speaking of being friends, you're also the ambassador,
No, there was a
general, commander-in-chief.
I am the honorary consul of
Honorary
France
consul.
For New Brunswick. Yes.
of France
Yes,
for New
yeah,
Brunswick.
Yeah.
Good Lord. You're a busy guy.
Busy guy, yes. But I drink champagne on the 14th of July, so that.
Just on the 14th of July?
No.
That's good. That's good. Whew. Well, this is so very, very interesting. That's not only when we start cooking, but just the experiences you have, and just like the science that's involved in all. What do you think of salmon fishing, salmon industry?
Well, the salmon industry, what happened is in the 80s, 90s, it developed a lot. Okay, and with that, of course, is associated with the release of nutrients. But instead of considering these nutrients as a waste, there is what is called in economics, it's what is called circular economy.
Okay.
And instead of saying they are waste, what is well known is what is waste for somebody is gold for somebody else. Well, the waste of fish can be the nutrient of seaweeds and the nutrient of scallops.
Okay, I see.
So, as a matter of fact, let's use these nutrients.
Yep.
And also, a lot of people say the aquaculture industry should double. So they say for the year 2020, 2000, 2010, 2020,
you say
2050.
it should double again? It should double again?
Well, some people say that, but it's not happening. It's not doubling. So if the doubling is not happening with fish, where does the doubling will come from? It will come from seaweeds and invertebrates.
Okay.
So
we
need to think more than fish in the oceans, because naturally there is more than fish in the oceans anyway.
Amazing. We're going to go to a break.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm going to bring Steve over.
Okay.
And you're going to go over to the kitchen.
Yes.
And what are you cooking over there in the kitchen?
So what I will do, we will start.
What do you got there right now? You're cooking.
We will have a dessert. So
this is dessert.
We start with
okay.
because I need to cook it.
Yeah.
And I will explain what happened on things. Then I will put it in the fridge as we have the show. And then at the end of the show, you will be surprised. We will have a dessert. And you will be surprised, from a liquid, it will be a gel.
So much for bacon bread. Okay, we're going to go to a break. We'll be right back with Chef Backman. And we are back. John Higgins Live. So good to be with you. Dr. Steve Backman.
Thank you, John.
Thank you for being here, one of our special guests that we have here tonight.
I'm really pleased to be here tonight. When people heard I was going to be on the show tonight, this really sweet lady that used to live down the street from me called me up, and she said, I hear you're going to be on Johnny's show. I go, yeah, and she said, I really want you to do something and accomplish something that night. So here's my goal for this evening. She said, my husband doesn't like to cook.
Yep.
And I need him to understand how to do something simple and easy and treat me with a really special dessert or dinner. And I said, well, you might even know this lady. Her name is Trudy. And she used to live just down Queen Street from me.
Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
And so I promised Trudy that tonight her husband would be able to come home and treat her to a really special dinner.
I'd love to.
So that's my goal for this evening.
Where'd they go? You brought some treats.
Oh, yes, I brought some treats for you.
You brought some treats.
It's COVID season, so I'm gloved. And so one of the things that we like to do with kelp is another flavor. Just like an artist has all kinds of colors on their palette, well, kelp is just another flavor on a chef's palette. And so we've created some chocolate using the flavorings of kelp, and we season it with a little bit of peanut butter, and so we brought some along for you to try, and I hope you'll enjoy trying it. I think, judging by the fact the box is half empty already, that somebody's been enjoying it today.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay, so now, this is good for you, am I right?
Chocolate's always good for you, John.
But Steve, we've got
kelp with minerals and iodine and soluble fiber, so it's got all those extra goodies in there that you can help take away some of the guilt from eating the chocolate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so now Terry is over in the kitchen. Terry's working away. Can you hear me, Terry?
Yeah.
Over there in the kitchen? What are you doing?
So what I am doing is good old recipes that is called blancmange in Acadians. And it's interesting because it's a tradition that you see on both sides of the Atlantic. The Acadians are doing that, and where I come from in Brittany, on west coast of France, they are also doing that. So I am warming up milk, and what I do is I have Irish moss, which is a red seaweed. And this Irish moss, as a matter of fact, I am doing a tea bag, but instead of a tea in the bag, it's seaweed. So here we are. I put my Irish moss in that.
So everybody can do this at home now,
You
right?
can do it at home too. So it's just cheesecloth. So I will put that up. That's my tea bag.
Yeah.
And if my milk is getting warm, I will put it there and just let it diffuse. So what happens is you have these red seaweeds contain sugars. They are called carrageenan. So it's a strange word, but carrageenan is a Celtic word. Carrag, it's the rock, and enon, that's red hair. So it means, as a matter of fact, rocks at low tide covered with red hair with red seaweeds. Okay, so these carrageenan are sugar that will diffuse in the milk. And as a matter of fact, there is a way of explaining it. If you want, the sugar are just like an egg box. So that's my two things. And with, oops, I have to be careful it doesn't boil. Yeah, okay. So the carrageenan are just like the box, and your eggs are the protein of the milk. So as a matter of fact, when this thing will have diffused, I will put it in the fridge while we continue the show. And when it cools down, the carrageenan will come closer, the protein, the eggs will be inside, and it will make a strong gel. Okay? And we will have dessert.
That's dessert, right?
That's a dessert for the end of the show. So at the university, I just put some vanilla extract.
That's regular vanilla
The vanilla extract.
Yeah.
But tonight, we are not with students. So why not we add a little Bailey Irish cream? So
some Bailey's Irish cream. That a boy.
Bailey
That a
Irish
boy.
cream.
He's not stingy with the Bailey Irish cream. He just poured the whole bottle in. Terry,
And,
you're a man after my heart.
So we let it diffuse a little.
When do we have that, Terry?
At the end of the show,
Oh, good.
it will. What happens is I will let it diffuse while it's warm, and then for the rest, for half an hour, for example, it will be in the fridge. It will make a gel, and I will show you that it's really a strong gel. And what you do normally is you can take it off. I will do it in a muffin plate. You can take each little muffin things equivalent.
Yep.
You put it on your dish, and with a nice raspberry coulis or blackberry coulis, and it's a custard, it's a jello.
Okay.
Things. So that's
Excellent. Well, while you're cooking away,
yeah,
all right,
yeah. Why not?
you have your company,
I do.
and your company is,
Magellan Aqua Farms.
say it again,
Magellan Aqua Farms.
Magellan. Where Magellan?
Well, the Magellan was a famous explorer,
Okay.
and but I took the name from our first crop, which was the giant scallop. And if you look up the giant scallop and the scientific name, it's Placopecten magellanicus, and the Magellan is the derivation word for the species of the scallop we were growing. So we use that as the name of our company.
So you've grown scallops, or
I've been growing scallops since about 2005.
How do you grow a scallop?
Well, it's like any other animal that you're growing. You
Yeah.
start with your babies,
Yeah.
and we collect the babies in the wild using things called spat collectors. They look like
Now, when you say in the wild,
Yeah.
underwater,
underwater on the farm.
so you're a diver.
I'm a diver, and
Now I'm a layman.
yeah.
Okay. When you say on the farm, That doesn't mean out in Rolling Dam on the farm. No,
No.
this is underwater.
This is underwater in the middle of Passamaquoddy Bay.
Oh, okay. All right.
So
yeah.
we're farmers, just like land farmers,
yeah.
except instead of tractors, we have boats. And instead of furrows, we have ropes.
Okay.
And instead of paddocks, we have enclosed cages. And so the babies, when our adults spawn, they release their babies into the water.
Okay.
Males and females do their thing.
Yep.
And it's a batch spawn. They release them all.
Uh-huh.
And the first thing they do is, after they're formed, they float freely like plankton in the water. So we have small bags that we collect, and it filters basically as the water's going through and the tides are moving. They're stopping these little spat.
Okay.
And when they decide they're become a scallop, they actually form a shell. And when they form that shell, they release the substrate, and then they fall to the bottom normally.
Okay. So that's
in
you
our
dive
case,
down.
No.
Oh,
It's
okay.
much simpler than that.
All right.
When they release from the material inside of our bags, they're now too big to fit out through the holes. So they're trapped inside the spat bags.
Okay.
And so we just open up the spat bags and move them into a larger cage for them to grow and give them lots of room and space.
So you've got cages out there.
We've got cages. They're suspended at about 30 to 40 feet underwater, so you have to dive to go retrieve the cages.
And that's when you do the diving.
That's when
You're
you do the
diving down
diving.
there to
We bring them
That's
up,
so cool.
we clean them, sort them, put the big ones in another cage, and leave the smaller ones to grow a little longer. And then when they're
Okay.
fully grown, we do what we do tonight, and that's cook them.
Perfect. That's the part that I really like.
I figured that was the part you'd really
that's-
like, yeah.
All right. Now, you've got your platform, your boat. You want to,
Yeah.
what, little worker?
Little worker,
Little
and
worker.
little kelper
Now, in the St. Croix,
in the St. Croix.
I see little helper moored off there or tied off there. Or
She sits there in the spring and
are
in
you
the fall.
working? Are you working from there? Are you
No.
diving there?
No.
Okay. All right.
She sits there in the spring and fall
Yeah.
when we put her in the water.
Yeah.
And then she sits there until the next day when I take her down to the farm. And she lives at the farm for the entire summer.
Okay.
And then in December, when we're finished putting out our new spat and new kelp lines for the winter, then we bring her home so she's safe in the yard and away from the winter storms.
So little worker is strictly for kelp, am I right?
Little worker is mostly for the scallops,
For the scallop, okay.
and little kelper is for the kelp.
Have I seen little kelper?
Little kelper you've probably seen. She's sitting in my yard right now. We're
Okay.
getting her ready for the summer season.
Okay.
But she's a sister to the little worker.
Okay. I was going over I've gone onto your face page and so interesting. So it must be beautiful out there. It must be.
A bad day at the office out there is better than any day stuck inside.
I bet.
It's beautiful, and there's odd days when it's rough and it's unpleasant.
Yeah.
But by and large, just being out in the water, you've got fresh air, you've got lots of, birds around you, dolphins or porpoises swim by.
Exactly.
It's just people pay to do that for vacation, and I get to call it work.
I know. Exactly.
It's amazing.
You travel all the time.
I do a fair bit of traveling, just like Terry.
Okay. And where are you going?
Where anybody wants me to go.
Okay.
But I
Is that promoting the kelp?
no, most of that, in my other half of my life, I'm an aquatic veterinarian.
Right.
So where I do a lot of focused research on diet development for an international company, and I spend a lot of time working with various research institutions, understanding fish nutrition and fish biology and fish health. And so I work with a lot of these institutions, and they happen to be, fortunately for me, they happen to be all around the world.
Really? I know. I've seen some of your travels and
It's an amazing career, and if you would have said when I was in school and my guidance counselor said, he'll never make it in university, he's not academically inclined.
No.
And so I said,
Was that really said?
that was really said, yeah.
Did you ever call him up and say, listen, you want to have a look at I'd read your degrees today, or you're in agriculture, aquaculture, veterinarian.
I've had lots of fun, and I would be classified as ADHD in modern times, and so I say to a lot of the kids, don't let somebody stop you because they don't
Wow,
believe
I
in you.
guess.
just go for it and follow your dreams, and you'll achieve them, and just focus on them.
Okay, I think we have a caller on the line. Can you hear me, caller?
Yes, I can.
Okay, do you have a question?
Yes, can you make a lemon meringue pie with kelp?
Yes.
What a
great question.
What a great question. Can you make a lemon meringue pie with kelp?
Yes, yes, you can.
Yeah. You can make anything with kelp. It, as like I mentioned earlier, if you think of the different colors on a palette that an artist would use, and the same thing a chef or a cook, I don't call myself a chef because I'm the furthest thing from it, but a chef will look at different flavors, and that's their palette to create artwork. And so kelp is just a flavor on that palette that you can create art. And it just happens seaweeds blend very well with acidic ingredients. So lemon meringue pie would be a perfect mix to pull out the flavors with kelp.
Do you experiment with this stuff? How do you know that?
I do, and I have more failures than successes. and my wife will be the first to vouch for that. But you just try it, and you know, cooking for me is a way to just blend the things that you think might taste good. So it's just experiment, and that's what scientists do. We experiment, we look at how the things fit together, and we try to understand what works and what doesn't. And cooking is just a science and an art combined, and it's a lot of fun. And you know, I've had lots of disasters where my wife said, "You can't, that's awful, just throw that in the garbage."
Are you serious?
I'm serious. And then there's other times when she says, "Oh, that's really good, I never thought of that." And so I keep those, and we make recipe cards, and they're on our website. So you can go to turquoiserevolution.ca and download some recipes.
Say that again. Go to where now?
Our website is turquoiserevolution.ca.
Okay, everybody get that? So if you want some of these recipes,
and
right?
on that is the recipes that have succeeded. I don't put any of the disasters on there. So
Thank goodness.
If the pictures are on there, we've tried them, and they taste really good. So
529-8826, 506-529-8826. Give us a call. Any questions? Okay, and Brent is on the line right now. Brett, go ahead.
My question was, is the Passamaquoddy Bay just an opportunity, or is there something special about it that makes it a great place to grow these things?
Oh, yes, both. Passamaquoddy Bay is one of the most unique ecosystems on the planet. I mean, it's powered by the Bay of Fundy, so there's a lot of energy coming from the tidal flows, a lot of mixing, a lot of upwelling, and there's a lot of nutrients. So it's an extremely nutrient-rich bay from natural runoff. There's loads of phosphorus, loads of nitrogen, and so it's just the perfect environment to grow everything. And so, as an environment, I couldn't ask for a better place to grow kelp, and I couldn't ask for a better place to grow shellfish. So it's just like the perfect mix of everything that comes together to make the ideal farming location situation.
Cool.
Perfect. Brett, any follow-up question, Brett?
No, that's great.
Okay, thank you for calling.
No problem.
Okay, any other questions? Remember, 529-8826 and 506-529-8826. Do we have another caller? Okay, just thought we had another caller.
Oh.
Excellent. So the Bay of Fundy is ideal, cold.
It's cold.
Tell me about tides.
Tides. Well, at our site, the tide runs around 22 to 24 feet vertically. So that has some challenges. While it provides all these ideal nutrients, having that much vertical rise and fall of the tide creates challenges for holding things in place. So you need to make sure that your gear is tight and able to maintain the flexibility of going up and down 26 feet.
Yeah.
And you also have to, because it's such a productive bay, everything grows, and everything grows, including the stuff you don't really want to grow.
I bet.
So you need to be cognizant of what plugging up the nets, and so that you don't want your animals to be stressed by low oxygen and low flow. So that's kind of how Terry and I started getting together, because, as an IMT biologist, and me as one who loves to look at interactions between marine organisms, it became obvious that there's two ways of antifouling. You can either apply a chemical antifoulant, so it kills the stuff and it doesn't grow, which for me is really bad. Or you can start to look at how nature fits the pieces together and try to mimic what Mother Nature does. And so one of the first things we did to try to control the fouling on the scallop cages was to add sea urchins in with the scallops.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
And the sea urchins became like the scrubbing bubbles. They really just migrated around. They would climb in around the cages, and they just loved the fouling material that grew on those nets. So they were actually our anti-fouling organisms. And so that's one of those first steps in integrated multitropic aquaculture, is to use different species together that work very collaboratively together to solve your problems.
Wow. I think we have another caller on the line. Caller, are you there?
Yes.
Gregor?
Yes.
You there, Gregor?
Yes. I have a question for Steve.
Yes, you go right ahead.
Hi, Gregor.
Hi. Do you have problems with starfish predation at all on your scallops?
Yes and no. Starfish are our arch enemies from a scallop producer point of view. The easiest way to deal with starfish is to just pick the cages up and change them, and so that you get rid of the settlements. The key settlement usually happens just after the spat settlement of the scallops, when you get the snowflakes coming down. So if you change your gear out right after the snowfall, we call it, is what collectively referred to it as, then we don't seem to get as many starfish.
Amazing.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, that's great.
But they're an aggravation, but they're not a major issue for us.
I can imagine they're quite a challenge. Well, thanks very much.
Okay, any other questions, Greg or Greg?
Well, sure. Actually, I do have one other question. I'm just wondering, how much variability is there in spot settlement from year to year? Are you noticing an increase or decrease from year to year, or is it roughly the same? Or
it has actually. That's a really good point, because it brings up the issue of ocean acidification and carbon dioxide. For as long as I can remember, it's been really, really consistent year to year, and in the last 5 years, it's been dropping dramatically. And the only thing that I can think about that's relating to that is the increased amount of CO2 that's in the atmosphere that's now entering the ocean and causing a process called ocean acidification. And what that drop in pH does is it prevents the calcium that's naturally in the water from being available for the scallops to form their shell. And so at that delicate stage as a spat, they aren't able to form a shell and they essentially die. So it's becoming a really concern for me. We're hoping that by growing a lot more kelp, that at least in the area of the farm, the kelp is a really good extractive species to take that carbon dioxide out of the water. So as we increase our kelp production, I'm hoping that's going to start to improve the spat settlement again.
Well, that's great. Well, I wish you the best of luck with kelp there, and I'd be really interested to hear how it goes.
Yeah, thanks, yeah.
Steve, you're going to do some cooking.
I'm going to do some cooking.
All
I'm
right.
going to try to do some cooking.
You're going to try to do some cooking. All right, why don't we go for a break, and then when we come back, we're going to join Steve in the kitchen. What are you going to make again?
Well, we're going to start with a very simple presentation, and that's just a bread plate.
Okay, good. Let's go to break.
Yeah.
And let's get you set up in the kitchen.
Sounds great.
Okay, we'll be back in just a couple of minutes with the two chefs here on
Call
John
us a
Higgins
chef.
Live. Okay, we are back. Things are getting hot in the kitchen. Okay, and Terry's back over. Terry's out of the kitchen. Steve's in the kitchen. Terry's back over here. Okay, Terry, were you happy with the way that's coming out? It's in the fridge now.
In the fridge. I just went to check on it. It's becoming a gel.
Yeah.
Not yet, but we need while Steve is cooking the main dish, we will be ready for the dessert.
How did two doctors, scientists, okay, end up in the kitchen? I know you scientists love to experiment, right?
Yeah.
Am I right?
So we experiment in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah.
You know, why not do this?
Cooking is chemistry and science applied to making
You
things
just took
taste
all
good.
the fun out of a chicken wing. Good Lord.
It's-
Okay,
Okay.
we had a caller while we were on break, and the caller wanted to know scallops. How long does it take? How long does it take for a scallop to grow to be edible?
Well, scallops.
In
are
other words,
interesting
Steve, wrapped around in bacon.
to make a bacon wrapped scallop. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
About 4 years.
4 years.
About 4 years. After about 3 years, you have a marketable size scallop. But if you want a really nice big meat
Okay.
that you want to wrap your bacon around, that's about a 4-year-old scallop. And you know, in the wild, it would be about a 6-year-old scallop.
Just going to ask you this. Now, that size you're talking about,
Yeah.
is that the size that you get in the grocery store, or is that the size that you get when you go down with your knife and do your thing?
Well, the scallop range is really it grows based on how much access it has to food. So a scallop on the bottom living in the wild, really the amount of food that's on the bottom is dependent on how much current is going by, and they're eating the algae and the food that's going by and growing. But when we're growing them suspended in the water column, there's way more food available to the scallop. So they're like the couch potato. They're sitting in their protected nest away from predators, and there's lots of current flowing through with lots of algae, so they're just sitting on the couch, pigging out and growing really fast.
Okay, really?
And so what we could do, our scallops grow in 4 years, what would take a scallop in the wild probably six years to grow.
6 years. What are you going to cook?
Well, we're going to start off. Cooking doesn't have to be complicated, and it's a bit about presentation. So if you're getting friends over and you want to have a dinner and you want to start off your meal, something really, really simple is just to serve some bread. So all you need is bread, a knife.
Everybody's got enough bread, Harry.
Yeah, everybody's been making it all the way at home.
Making bread.
And so we just take a little cup. We can put our bread on the
Okay,
plate.
so what's in the little bowl,
The magic liquid. So
Oh,
we
you're going
have
to put it in there now. Oh, okay. What
so
is
we have
that?
some kelp infused oil. So this is just a light cooking oil, safflower oil and olive oil, and then we infuse it with some dill and some kelp, and there's your appetizer. So people around the table, you take your bread, dip it in the kelp oil, and have a really nice snack just as you're waiting for the
You don't put
main
butter
course.
on the bread or anything. You
Don't
just
need
look
butter on the bread. It's just dunk it in the kelp
at-
infused
Okay,
oil.
and what did you just pour in there? So everybody, where do you get that?
This
Where?
you can get at Mayfield Gardens. So we sell it through Mayfield.
Mayfield Gardens.
Yeah.
Okay, so and what's it called?
It's kelp infused oil.
Kelp infused oil.
So
and
it's-
all you do is you just pour it in there,
You
dip
just
the bread
pour it
in
in
it, and eat it.
There. That's your first course. Done.
Really?
Simple, and it looks nice, and it's got a lot of good flavor. So that's the way we start.
Amazing.
So, step one. Step two is a seaweed salad. Now, most people are used to eating dinners. They start their dinner with a salad. They like, you've heard of Caesar salad, you've heard of chef salad,
Sure
you've heard of garden
have.
salad.
Sure have.
Well, there's also seaweed salad. And seaweed salad is a really healthy salad because you've got fresh seaweed, and it's rich in those minerals like iodine and iron, and it's rich in soluble fiber, which so you can set your Metamucil aside and eat your kelp. So I'm going to show you how to make a quick kelp salad. To save time, I've made a dressing. This is also available on our recipe page. It's just a Thai-inspired salad dressing, and it's made in a mason jar. So you just add the ingredients, shake it up, and you've got your salad dressing. It takes you 3 to 4 minutes to make a homemade salad dressing. Done.
So that's homemade.
No, that's homemade, yeah. It's,
Okay.
And the rest, it's just a matter of dumping the ingredients in, shaking it up.
And you get the ingredients off of your
You can get,
offline.
yeah, we have the recipes online, but the ingredients come from any grocery store.
Okay,
So
yep,
all
as
of
long-
the recipes that I've created for this has been to use locally available ingredients that you can easily get at the grocery store.
Okay.
So nothing really fancy that you have to drive
Yeah.
to the big cities to
Yeah.
try to find in a gourmet food store. They're all just locally available, simple ingredients. So, kelp salad. first of all, you need the magic.
Here we go.
Here we go. So here's a frond of kelp, fresh out of the garden. We call it a garden, but it's fresh out of
Under
the Bay
the
of Fundy.
ocean, under the Bay of Fundy.
So, so all we do is we cut.
How does the ordinary person come across that? You have to go diving with you to get it?
No, we'll harvest it and bring it ashore, and we hold it, we dry it so it can be preserved for a whole year, or we can give you the fresh material. So we just lay it out on the counter, on the cutting board, and then we just roll it up. So it's just, we may roll it up like a cinnamon roll, like if you're making cinnamon buns.
And that's fresh, right?
That's fresh. This is fresh out of
kelp.
the fresh out of the bay, and then just so we got all this nicely cut up kelp, and also for the magic of TV, I've got some already cut up. Man, now, can you get me the kettle that's around the corner?
What is it?
There's a kettle of hot water there.
Okay,
It's just offset, but we'll just need the
it's
hot
on
water.
its way, Steve.
Yep, thank you.
The kettle of hot water is on its way. Here comes a kettle of hot water.
Perfect, thank you. So, for kelp,
So you're putting hot water in here. So that's
so this is the entire cooking part. So we take our kelp.
So that's what it would look like
That's
after
what it
you
would look like
all cut it up, right?
After you all cut it up,
Yep.
we put it in the hot water for
Yep.
about 15 to 20 seconds.
Wow.
And you'll see the magic happen. Remember what it looked like when it went in?
Yeah. Okay, there you go. Just so that we can see a look. Okay.
It's now like green lettuce. So,
Yeah.
and then we'll just put it in ice water to cool that down, because what happens with the hot water is it denatures or breaks down the brown pigment. And since these are plants with chlorophyll, which is what turns the carbon dioxide into oxygen again,
Yeah.
the chlorophyll is stable in hot water. So the brown pigments disappear, and you're left with the
Okay.
nice green pigments left behind. So you have this nice green salad base. So
Okay, so you took that brown kelp
brown kelp
and turned it into that.
and turned it into that.
Wow.
So for the salad, like any salad, you want a mixture of vegetables. So you can take a little bit of radish.
Wow, radish.
Just cut those up a little bit.
I wonder how many people are following you at home while you're doing this.
I hope lots. And a little bit of parsnip. And so parsnip, all we're doing is we're just scraping a couple pieces in the bowl. We have our radish. A little bit of carrot.
And this is the full meal, right?
This is the full meal.
Okay. Wow.
A little bit of carrot. And we all like asparagus, but so we just do the same thing. We just shave some asparagus.
Oh, everybody, you got to try this at home. You got to. This is cool.
And then just for a little color, I've got some red pepper. Okay, so we take our kelp, we stir it up, throw our color in.
Are you going to cook this?
Nope, it's done.
It's done.
It's done.
So, I mean, it does look delicious, but we've got raw carrots in there.
Yeah, it's a raw vegetable salad.
Raw. Oh, that's the vegetable salad.
It's the vegetable salad.
Okay. Okay.
So we're going to set that aside. So we have our plate.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to just put that on the center of the plate, so we'll have a little bit of color. So there's our salad plate, starter meal.
Whoa.
Took all of 30 seconds.
It did. Are there any restaurants that do this, that cook that?
Yeah, actually, Ross Mount, all the major restaurants love to cook with kelp because it
Really?
adds that extra flavor dimension
Yeah.
to their menu. So it gives people a unique flavor, and that they want to come back to because they've tasted something they haven't tasted before, and it tastes really good. So we're going to create an appetizer, and the center of the appetizer piece is going to be the kelp salad, and then we're going to cook some scallops. And it's important when you're cooking scallops that you don't overcook them. I mean, seafood. People
you
ask
just
me.
put some butter in there,
I just
right?
put some butter in there to
Okay.
start.
Yeah.
And when people talk to me about cooking seafood, I often get asked or said, "Well, I don't like cooking seafood because I don't know how to cook it, and there's no really good recipes out there where I can cook my seafood." So I say, seafood is meant to be enjoyed, and it's meant to be cooked gently. So it's one of the easiest things to cook because it takes up all the flavors of whatever you're cooking with it. So scallops have a very nice, sweet, mild taste, and so you can spice them up and create any flavor you want with those scallops. And so we're going to, if I can get the pan to heat up here, we're going to just do a really simple scallop recipe to make a nice appetizer that you could serve to anybody and they'll be impressed. So we'll start with making the butter melt. Then we're going to just use a light cooking oil. I like to use safflower oil or canola, just enough. And we're going to just put enough in the pan so that the scallops, when they sit in the oil and butter mix, they're just, it comes up about 1/3 of the height of the scallop.
Terry, give us your professional opinion on that.
Oh, it's a strong gel.
It's a strong gel. Okay, let's you keep that right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so all we're going to add into this for the thing is we're going to add a teaspoonful of kelp flake. So this is the dried sugar kelp that we've been talking about earlier today.
So, so this is to put the spice in the
this is
scallops, right?
Put the spice in the scallops.
Yeah, okay. You haven't got the scallops in there yet.
Not yet. We're waiting for the
Okay, you just
pan to heat.
put that right on the butter.
Yeah, and then we're going to put a half a teaspoon of garlic powder. And I found this garlic powder at Gore Farm, and it is the best garlic powder I've ever had. So I've been promoting it, not intentionally, but I just love it. So I've also got some baby shrimp. So we'll use that just to crown off the dessert. And then we have some fresh scallops, and as you can see there, when you're buying scallops, it's really important to make sure that they're fresh. A fresh scallop has almost no smell, and a fresh scallop should be a slightly off-white color. If you see scallops that are glistening white and come with the label wet processed, I usually try to avoid those because they're soaked in a phosphate material to give them that white flavor and make them take up more water. So they look bigger and they look fresher, but they're really not that fresh. And you want a scallop to look, really slightly off-white and have a nice meaty
texture.
So if you see that and you smell it and you can't smell anything, that's a really fresh scallop, and that'll give you the best.
So
meal.
Where did you get that scallop?
This came from the farm.
Really?
Yes.
So you went down and
We actually don't have to go down. We pull up the cage.
Pull up the cage.
We take
That's
them
right.
out.
Yeah.
And then we cut them out.
If you want.
Look at that.
So we're going to just place the scallops in the pan. And the butter is really nice because what the butter does, it caramelizes and creates that nice brown kind of golden texture on the end of the scallops. and it creates, and the flavor comes, it traps the flavor in. So as soon as those start, and it cut out again. Now we have, where's Vicky?
You need
But
Vicky?
is
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yes.
we're there.
I don't dare tell you what he did. He turned the power off on his foot.
Yeah, that time was my fault.
Okay,
so.
folks, everybody okay at the kitchen?
What
at
my
home?
wife said about me in the kitchen and being a disaster in the making, well,
Yeah.
now you know why.
Sorry.
So,
If you want if you want a little story about
Please.
the brown pigment for the kelp.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, when you dip the kelp in the hot water, so that destroys the brown pigment, and
yeah.
you see the chlorophyll coming out.
I just see, yeah.
But the brown pigment, naturally in the seaweeds,
Yeah.
as a matter of fact, they are suntan protector. They are UV protector. So as a matter of fact, that's pigment. As a matter of fact, the cosmetic industry also use this pigment.
Seems to me, I heard
Yes.
that.
Yeah, so these brown pigment are there to protect. When you have a cosmetic, it's to protect our skin.
yeah.
But seaweed also have to protect themselves from sun exposure because
exactly.
they are all day long outside.
Exactly.
So these brown pigment are protecting the seaweeds. Then you destroy them with hot water. You get the nice green color of chlorophylls, and people seems to like this green color. So that's why a lot of
breaker
people,
trip
when
now.
you see at different shops or in restaurants, people have the impression they eat green seaweed salad. It's most of the time it's a brown seaweed salad that has been blanched.
Really?
Yeah,
Dulse.
dulse. Yeah. So dulse is red seaweeds. That we have quite a lot here in the Bay of Fundy. Grand Manan is very well known.
Very famous
Yes,
for its
yes,
dulse,
yeah.
right?
Yes, so
Breaker
the
keeps
the Grand Manan, the Dark Harbor Grand
Whoa,
dulse.
yes, really.
And
Yeah.
it's interesting because on Dark Harbor, because they are big cliffs,
Mm-hmm.
they don't get the sun from the morning. They get the sun only at the end of the day. So as a matter of fact, that's why the dulse from Dark Harbor, because it's a dark harbor, there's not much light, and that's why the dulse from Dark Harbor is so purplish
Okay,
compared
okay.
to the dulse from the east side of the island, which is much more pale.
Okay,
So
really?
yes, so seaweed have also pigment to protect them.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? Steve, how are we doing?
we're doing good. We're on one side. 2 minutes on each side of the scallop is
Yeah.
probably just about right. And
I've
so
often wondered that. So it is. It's 2 minutes each side.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't want, like I said, you don't want to overcook them, but you want enough so that you just start. They actually just. I'm just flipping them now for the first time. You can see that it's just starting to get that little bit of golden brown.
Yeah.
We don't want to overcook them, so that when you overcook scallops, they become very rubbery, and that's a sign that they've been well overcooked. So we don't want to get to that point.
Okay. Okay. All these little hints that we're picking up on.
Yeah. So we're just about ready to serve these now, and then that'll wrap up the cooking part, and maybe you can, if you want, you can sample.
Wow.
So,
And then you will have dessert.
and we'll have
And don't forget Terry's dessert.
and we won't forget dessert. So we also have here, I've made some, using the oil, made some mayonnaise, and that recipe is on the recipe thing as well. So we're going to just put a little drop of our kelp infused mayonnaise.
So that's mayonnaise, kelp infused.
It's made with the kelp oil and eggs.
So did you? Oh, and eggs.
And eggs, base
So
of
you made
mayonnaise,
that
egg
yourself?
yolks. You can make this at home. It takes you 5 minutes to make.
You made that yourself.
I made that this morning. Yeah.
Is that on your recipe?
It's on the recipe card,
Okay,
so
yeah.
it's easy to do. It just, you need whipping and eggs, and I add a little bit of cayenne pepper just to bring out some little extra flavor.
Okay.
And from that we use that as a garnish, and gives you a little bit of a flavor. And then I'm just going to take a little bit of that oil. And you want your plate to look kind of nice, so we're just going to
Now, what's that now?
This is the same kelp oil. I just put it in a squeeze bottle.
Oh, okay. Yep.
And so I've put it on the plate, and now we're going to take our scallops, and we'll just make 3 of them on the plate. And we'll put our friendly shrimp right on top. And there's
How long did you cook the shrimp for?
4 minutes, same with the scallops.
So, okay, same time with the shrimp and the scallops.
And so there we go. There's our, now you can serve that to anybody. I think
Wow.
they'd be pleased. And it's something you can do at home. It just takes you a few minutes. It's no special ingredients. There you go. So now you're ready to take that home to Trudy. And
exactly. So it took you 25 minutes to do it, but you shut everything off. Okay.
yeah, we had a little bit of technical difficulties
The
here.
pan was working okay and everything.
Yeah.
Like you say, you can whip that up pretty
We
quick.
could whip that up, and there you go. And it doesn't take any effort, and it's simple, and it's cooking with kelp, and you've got all the extra flavors. So now you've added that 5th flavor. You've increased your palette of color and increased your palette of flavors. So bon appetit.
That is, I hope everybody at home really is really checking this out, because that is fantastic. And look at this.
Seafood
This is called
so easy to
Terry's Famous Dessert. Right, Terry?
Yes, so
Does it look okay?
that's look okay.
So
It-
that went from, that started
that
off.
that was hot milk.
That's
when
right.
I,
You
when
put
I
that
was
like in the tea
mixing,
bag
I
thing.
was my tea bag with
Right on.
Irish moss.
Yeah.
I let it diffuse sugars. Then we put it in the fridge as the show was going on.
You're
so
right.
maybe half an hour. Okay. And from a liquid, you see, it's a strong gel. It's so strong that I can do that.
Whoa.
I can do it again. It doesn't fall.
Oh my goodness.
It's a strong, very strong gel. That's what is called blancmange. So it means eating something white in French. Blanc is white and mange is manger, to eat. And it's a tradition that is very interesting on both sides of the Atlantic, because a lot of Acadian come from Brittany on southern part of
Exactly.
Brittany.
Yeah.
So you have this tradition on the French coast. We have this tradition in Acadian. And here you have spoons, and don't forget.
I ate before I came.
Yes, okay. Well, I will. Don't forget, there is Bailey Irish cream. So
I gotta drive. How is it?
it's delicious.
I think I can smell the Bailey's Irish
yeah,
cream.
yes.
You put a half a quart in there.
A little bottle. Little bottle. I have to drive back to St. John tonight.
Oh, great. Okay. How are we doing over in the kitchen, Steve-O? That looks absolutely
We're done.
delicious. We done?
We're done, and if you want to just garnish a little bit on top, you just take some of your juice with the garlic and the kelp and just spoon it on top of the scallop. So you have a little extra. You can dab a little mayonnaise. You've got your thing with some dressing spooned on top, and you're crowned with your shrimp. And we're ready to eat.
Where, again, do we get the recipe for it? On your...
Well, you can get the recipe online at turquoiserevolution.ca.
Okay,
Or you can go to Mayfield Greenhouses and you can pick up a recipe card there when you buy your kelp powder.
Okay, everybody, thank you so much for watching. We're going to be back live again next Sunday night. So, bon appetit. See you next Sunday. Bye now.